Now that we've dissected the manufacturing, tech, policy, market, and pricing aspects, there's one more dimension to explore: the cultural differences between these companies and how they operate. This goes beyond hardware and gets into corporate culture, leadership style, and consumer perception. In many ways, Tesla and BYD reflect the cultures of their home countries and founders, and that influences how they do business and how they are received by the public. So let's delve into those cultural and organizational contrasts. Cultures clash, East meets West in the EV revolution. It's often said that companies take on the personalities of their founders. In the case of Tesla and BYD, this rings true, and those personalities could not be more different. The cultural context in which each company operates also shapes their behavior and decision-making. Here, we'll explore how differences in corporate culture, leadership, and consumer expectations between the US and China have manifested in the Tesla versus BYD rivalry. The Musk factor versus the BYD way. Elon Musk is arguably the most famous CEO on the planet, a brash, outspoken, and often controversial figure who doubles as a marketing machine for Tesla. He tweets memes, engages directly and sometimes combatively with customers online, and isn't afraid to make audacious claims, like promising fully self-driving cars for years, always just around the corner. This cult of personality has given Tesla an almost fanatical following. Many Tesla owners are active evangelists, and Tesla has essentially gotten free marketing from Musk's charisma and social media presence. However, Musk's style can also alienate. His polarizing comments at times turned off some potential buyers who disagree with him. In China, Musk has been careful to be more deferential, praising Chinese workers' smart and hardworking nature. For instance, he's quite popular among tech enthusiasts there too. But Tesla in China isn't sold on Musk's persona as much as on the product and brand. BYD's leadership is the opposite of showy. Wang Chuanfu, BYD's founder and CEO, is a low-profile engineer. He rarely gives flashy presentations or goes on social media to rant. In fact, many outside China wouldn't recognize him. Inside China, Wang is respected but maintains a humble image. There's an anecdote that he would sometimes personally inspect factory lines wearing the same uniform as workers. Charlie Munger once noted that the guy at BYD is more like a combination of Edison and Welch, highlighting Wang's technical ingenuity and effective management. BYD's culture is described as workmanlike, diligent, and iterative. They don't make big splashy announcements about future products years ahead. They tend to unveil things when ready. The humor goes that BYD's corporate culture is like a tortoise, steady and focused, whereas Tesla's is like a hare, quick and sometimes erratic. BYD's company name even reflects a cultural difference: build your dreams, an aspirational, slightly poetic English phrase chosen for its positive vibe. Reportedly, they picked an English name to sound global. In Chinese, the company is just called BYD Auto without that meaning. Tesla, named after inventor Nikola Tesla, carries a tech-historical homage and seriousness. American audiences resonate with Tesla's tech lineage and Musk's larger-than-life persona. Chinese audiences might find BYD's name a bit corny but memorable, and increasingly they take pride in BYD as a national champion, showing Chinese manufacturing prowess. Innovation style: bold versus incremental. Tesla's culture encourages bold innovation and risk-taking. Move fast and break things could easily be a Tesla mantra indeed. Tesla has often rolled out beta software to customers, e.g. full self-driving beta, effectively using public roads as testbeds, a controversial yet Silicon Valley-esque approach. Tesla was willing to totally rethink car design, as seen with things like the yoke steering wheel or minimalist dashboard, and sometimes it backtracks if needed, returning the option of a round wheel after feedback. BYD's innovation tends to be more behind the scenes and iterative. It invests heavily in R&D, over 10,000 engineers, huge battery labs, but the changes are often gradual improvements rather than paradigm shifts. For example, BYD didn't try to implement full self-driving with unproven tech. Instead, it added ADAS features stepwise. Its design language also evolved from frankly copycat early cars. Some of BYD's 2000s models unabashedly resembled Toyota or Lexus designs, to original stylish designs today. That evolution shows a willingness to learn and improve rather than swing for wild concepts out of the gate. Culturally, Chinese companies often stress continuous improvement and benchmarking others, whereas Tesla's culture, influenced by Musk, is more about first principles thinking and making revolutionary leaps. Consumer relations. Tesla's direct sales model means it deals with customers one-on-one, and sometimes has had a rocky relationship, e.g., when Tesla cut prices. Some recent buyers in China were so upset at the sudden depreciation that they protested at Tesla stores. Tesla's view is often, the product is so good it will sell itself. It doesn't pamper customers with white-glove treatment. Sometimes service scheduling or communication has been a sore point among Tesla owners, though many still love the car enough to overlook it. BYD, working with dealers, adheres more to traditional norms of customer service in auto sales, which can be both good and bad. Good in that dealers will chase customers and handle issues. Bad in that experiences can vary by dealership and there's haggling involved. In China, BYD's customer base ranges from taxi drivers, for whom they have dedicated support for fleet sales, to young families buying their first car. BYD has to cater to a broader demographic, and it has relatively high customer satisfaction in China thanks to a decent reliability record and improving service network. Tesla's customers in China skew wealthier and more urban. Tesla had to learn to adapt, for instance, Mandarin voice control and integrating local apps like WeChat into its system, and offering more luxurious interiors in response to local taste. Work ethic and 996. In terms of internal culture, Chinese tech companies are known for 996, working 9 a.m. to 9 p.m., 6 days a week. BYD's factory workers and engineers likely put in long hours, as is common in China's manufacturing sector. Musk famously demands long hours and intense commitment too, so perhaps on that front both cultures meet in the middle. Hard work is expected. Musk sleeps at the factory during crunch time. Wang Chunfu probably does the same in spirit, albeit with less tweeting about it. Dealing with government. We touched on policies, but culturally, BYD's relationship with the Chinese government is symbiotic. BYD executives frequently attend government forums on EV development, and Wang Chunfu has been a member of China's legislative body's advisory capacity, meaning he's involved in shaping policy. In China's culture, businesses often align their goals with national goals, like electrification, lowering oil dependence. BYD's mission dovetails with China's climate objectives and industrial strategy. Tesla in the US doesn't have the same kind of central planning to sync with, but Musk has adeptly used government incentives while often deriding overregulation. He famously repaid Tesla's DOE loan early and blasted the idea of too much government support, even as SpaceX and Tesla have benefited from various government deals. There's a sort of anti-establishment streak in Tesla's culture. They'll comply with laws, but they push the envelope, e.g., selling cars direct despite dealership lobby opposition, deploying autopilot widely despite regulatory unease. BYD, contrarily, works within the system in China to advance, and abroad it tries to be a responsible entrant that emphasizes compliance. For example, BYD readily adheres to Europe's regulations on charging standards, whereas Tesla initially tried its own supercharger plug before later adopting standards. National pride and global ambitions. For American EV buyers, buying a Tesla can feel like supporting a homegrown innovator and the broader mission of sustainable transport, a bit of patriotism plus idealism. In China, buying a BYD can carry a sense of national pride, our own brand, especially as BYD surpasses foreign brands in sales. Indeed, Tesla's image in China took a couple of public relations hits. One infamous incident at the 2021 Shanghai Auto Show, where a disgruntled Tesla owner climbed atop a Model 3 screaming about brake failures. It went viral. Chinese state media at times highlighted Tesla quality complaints or accidents, which some analysts saw as signaling to not get too enamored with the foreign brand. BYD doesn't face that kind of pushback at home, rather it's held up as a model company. Conversely, in the US, Chinese brands like BYD have zero presence in the consumer market and might face skepticism if they did appear. Some Americans might worry about quality or have residual wariness about Chinese products, though perceptions are changing as people see Chinese electronics like smartphones can be top-notch. Humor and metaphors. In the narrative of EVs, metaphors abound. An American might say Tesla is playing chess while others play checkers with its strategy, or that BYD is slow and steady wins the race. In China, commentators often frame Tesla as the benchmark to beat. A phrase often used by Chinese CEOs is Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter, learn from Tesla. BYD Swang once said with confidence that BYD could make a Tesla anytime if consumer demand really ramps up, implying that Tesla's manufacturing isn't magic, it's just that BYD was catering to a different market. Now that demand is ramping, BYD basically did go and make its version of a Tesla, high-performance pure EVs like the Han. On the lighter side, Chinese social media sometimes jokes that BYD stands for bring your dollars in the context of its stock price surge, rewarding investors. And Tesla owners sometimes joke that Tesla is a tech company that just happens to build cars, whereas BYD is a car company that also dabbles in tech. These quips reveal cultural biases. Americans often prize the software tech side where Tesla shines with things like over-the-air updates, a slick app, etc., while Chinese consumers may focus on the hardware value and functionality, where BYD shines with solid build quality, fancy features for the money. Environmental and social image. Both companies push a green narrative, zero emissions, etc., which is globally appreciated. Tesla, however, has had to fight a perception by some labor groups that it mistreats workers or busts unions. The Fremont factory had clashes with unionization efforts. BYD, operating in China, doesn't have independent unions. Labor practices in China are different and not scrutinized by media as heavily. Instead, BYD gets lauded for creating tens of thousands of manufacturing jobs. When BYD opens plants overseas, e.g., bus plant in California or upcoming car plants in Thailand, Brazil, it generally is seen as bringing investment. Yet there's also wariness. For instance, the U.S. government in 2019 blocked federal funds from being used to buy Chinese-made transit vehicles, which basically hit BYD's U.S. electric bus business over fears of spying or unfair competition. That's a cultural political clash directly affecting BYD. In how they communicate, Tesla's style is often direct to consumer, Musk's Twitter, Tesla's Battery Day presentations with lots of engineering detail to excite the fanbase. BYD's communications are more conventional press releases, auto show appearances, and relying on third-party reviews. BYD doesn't have a singular global spokesperson like Musk. This means BYD's story internationally is sometimes less told, and that's why this deep dive is interesting, to shed light on it. Ultimately, Tesla and BYD's cultural differences can be summed up as Silicon Valley startup ethos versus Shenzhen manufacturing powerhouse ethos. One is flashy, disruptive, and sometimes brash. The other is methodical, massive, and steadily executing. Both cultures have proven effective in their context. As BYD expands globally, it may need to develop more of a brand personality that resonates with Western consumers beyond just good value. It might highlight its eco-friendly innovations or even put forward some charismatic executives for media, though they'll never be Elon level. Tesla, for sustained success in Asia, might need to learn humility and localization, which it's begun by adapting features for China and engaging with regulators more gingerly. As an American reader, one might find it fascinating that while Tesla feels like a hero's journey startup story, BYD is more of a nation-building industrial story. Both narratives are compelling. One appeals to those who love entrepreneurial triumphs. The other appeals to those who appreciate how strategy and government support can build a new industry from scratch. The road ahead. Conclusions and outlook for the BYD versus Tesla battle. Standing here in the middle of the 2020s, it's clear that the electric vehicle revolution is no longer a one-horse race. Tesla, which for years was synonymous with EVs in the US, now faces a formidable rival in BYD, and indeed, both may have to watch their backs as other automakers, from traditional giants to startups, join the fray. So what have we learned from this deep dive, and what can we expect in the coming years in this Tesla-BYD rivalry? Key takeaways from our analysis: manufacturing and scale. BYD's vertically integrated, labor-intensive approach has enabled it to scale up rapidly and produce at lower cost, dominating its home market. Tesla's automated, innovative manufacturing has kept it ahead in efficiency and allowed rapid global expansion. Each is learning from the other, with Tesla localizing supply and BYD automating more. Battery tech: BYD's Blade battery, LFP chemistry prioritizes safety and cost, giving it an edge in affordable EV segments, whereas Tesla's cutting-edge 4680 cell aims for top performance and range. Both companies are pushing battery innovation in different directions, and interestingly even collaborating indirectly, Tesla using BYD batteries. Battery cost reductions by BYD threaten Tesla's cost lead, but Tesla's software and charging ecosystem maximize the utility of every kWh. Policy and market dynamics: China's strong pro-EV policies supercharged BYD's rise and even helped Tesla for a time, but now competition in China is fierce with BYD on top. The US and Europe are introducing policies like tariffs and localized tax credits that could advantage Tesla and pose barriers to BYD's direct entry. Market share stats show BYD leads in China by a wide margin, while Tesla leads in the US with over half of the EV market. Each is defending its turf. Pricing and lineup: Tesla is moving from premium toward mass market, slashing prices to boost volume, but still largely plays in the $40K plus range, with exception of some standard models after credits. BYD offers EVs from $14K to $60K, attacking every segment with a value proposition. BYD's ability to undercut Tesla by 10 to 30% on comparable cars, e.g. BYD's Seal versus Tesla Model 3 in China, is a major competitive advantage, forcing Tesla to respond. Tesla's brand and tech cachet, however, lets it retain a strong hold on the higher end. Cultural differences: Tesla's charismatic leadership and bold Silicon Valley culture contrast with BYD's quiet, engineering-driven ethos and Chinese corporate pragmatism. Tesla leverages a fanatical following and hype, whereas BYD leverages homegrown goodwill and broader model appeal. Each will need to adjust culturally as they globalize. Tesla must cater to non-US consumer tastes, especially in China where buyers demand variety and luxury touches, and BYD must craft a brand identity that resonates with Western buyers who may not be familiar with it. Forward-looking projections: global expansion of BYD. Expect BYD to ramp up its presence in Europe, Latin America, and Asia-Pacific. It's already the world's one EV maker if you count hybrids. Even in pure EVs, BYD pulled essentially neck-and-neck with Tesla by 2024. BYD aims to sell 800,000 cars per year in Europe by 2030, which would likely make it a top EV brand there, potentially overtaking Tesla in Europe if Tesla doesn't introduce a cheaper model. BYD will likely build or acquire manufacturing in Europe, perhaps converting some struggling local plant to avoid tariffs and be closer to market. In markets like India or Southeast Asia, BYD stands to dominate as an early mover with affordable EVs, unless Tesla surprises with a very low-cost offering. Tesla's response: new models and tech. Tesla isn't standing still. In the next couple of years, we'll see the Cybertruck on roads, opening a new segment which BYD doesn't play in yet. But Chinese rivals may create their own electric pickups. Tesla's much-anticipated 25K compact car, possibly a hatchback, could be unveiled as soon as 2024 to 25 and hit production by 2026. If Tesla cracks the code on making that car cheaply, likely with a revolutionary assembly process, perhaps one giant casting for the body and a structural LFP pack, it could be a game-changer in emerging markets, and for younger buyers, directly challenging BYD's lower-end offerings on performance and brand while narrowing the price gap. Tesla is also pushing ahead with software. Its full self-driving system, if it ever achieves true reliability, could become a subscription cash cow, and a feature that BYD and others will struggle to match. Most Chinese EVs rely on third-party tech for ADAS, like Baidu or Huawei software. Tesla's focus on AI and even custom chips, it designs its self-driving computer chips, is more akin to a tech firm's strategy than BYD's more traditional auto approach. BYD's tech catch-up. We might see BYD invest more in software and autonomy to avoid falling behind in the smart car race. It already introduced the DI-SUS, Intelligent Body Control System, in 2023, sort of like an active suspension akin to Tesla's smart air suspension, but taken further. Don't be surprised if BYD partners with tech companies to enhance its cars' connectivity and autonomous capabilities. For instance, BYD could partner with a company like Mobileye or NVIDIA for self-driving tech, or with local tech giants like Alibaba or Tencent to create a rich app ecosystem in its cars. As EVs become computers on wheels, BYD will need to bolster that side of its competency to compete with Tesla's Silicon Valley DNA. Market share shifts. Tesla is forecasted to possibly lose its global EV crown to BYD in the mid-2020s, especially if counting plug-in hybrids. Bloomberg New Energy Finance analysts predicted BYD would hold a sales lead through at least 2027. However, they also predicted Tesla might regain a lead by 2028 as its new models and factories come online. Essentially, the next few years could see a ping-pong for one EV maker globally. Even if Tesla sells, say, 2 million EVs in 2025, BYD might sell 2.2 million including hybrids. It becomes a matter of definitions and whether Tesla's growth with new compact model, etc. outpaces BYD's global growth. The wildcard is other automakers. VW, GM, Toyota are all investing tens of billions in EVs. But so far none have cracked the formula as well as Tesla or BYD. VW is second in Europe but far behind in China. GM is strong in US. EVs only in certain segments like trucks soon, etc. So for the immediate future, Tesla and BYD look to remain the two dominant pure-play EV makers worldwide, shaping the direction of the industry. Competition in each other's backyard. Tesla will keep trying to win in China. It's building a megapack battery storage factory there to deepen ties, and possibly may develop China-specific models. There's talk of a smaller car developed by Tesla's China R&D Center. But with BYD and others swarming, Tesla might find maintaining to 15% EV market share in China challenging. Conversely, will BYD enter the US consumer market? With the 100% tariff, likely not imminently. Instead, BYD could enter via a Made in USA or Made in Mexico strategy later in the decade. BYD already sells electric buses and trucks in the US and has a foothold that way. BYD buses ply the streets of Los Angeles and other cities. Perhaps by late 2020s, if political winds change or if BYD invests in a local plant, Americans might see BYD cars on sale, likely marketed under a different brand name, just as Japanese and Korean automakers eventually did. If that happens, Tesla would face a serious challenger on home soil for the first time in the mass-market EV segment. Imagine a BYD Dolphin or Seal, built in Mexico to avoid tariffs, selling for $25,000 in the US. It could attract many who find a $40K Tesla out of reach. Collaboration or coexistence. Could Tesla and BYD ever collaborate? In a limited sense, it's already happening with Tesla buying BYD batteries. Elon Musk in 2023 publicly praised BYD, indicating mutual respect. It's not far-fetched to think Tesla might outsource some entry-level models' battery supply entirely to BYD if it helps lower cost, just as Apple buys components from Samsung even while competing. Both companies share a goal to accelerate EV adoption and phase out combustion engines. It's conceivable they might align on certain lobbying efforts, for example, pushing for more charging infrastructure globally, which benefits all EV makers. But by and large, we will see healthy competition. In closing, the story of how BYD is taking on Tesla is more than just a business case. It's a narrative about how innovation travels and evolves globally. An American company, Tesla, proved that EVs could be desirable and sparked a worldwide shift. A Chinese company, BYD, fueled by its own innovation and state support, took that torch and ran with it to become a volume leader and push costs down for the masses. Each has strengths that complement the other's weaknesses, almost like two sides of the same coin pushing the EV envelope. For American readers, seeing BYD's rise is a bit like witnessing Toyota's ascent in the 1980s, once derided, then quietly competent and eventually dominant, but happening in a much shorter time frame and in a futuristic EV context. It's also a story of how two very different cultures both arrived at success in the EV industry via different paths. One might use a sports metaphor. Tesla was the flashy MVP breaking records, and BYD is the fundamentally solid team player racking up points consistently. Now they're head-to-head in the championship game. As spectators and consumers, we stand to benefit from this clash. Better cars, lower prices,